Greetings, my name is Jim Lindsey, and this is your orientation video for CIS 141 for the summer of 2019. I hope you are well. What I'd like to do today is basically go through the same material that you would go through in a initial meeting of a class. If this was a face-to-face course, basically cover the things we would talk about, in that first meeting. Typically, face-to-face, that would involve, a lot of getting to know each other, but obviously because this is an online course, we'll dispense with that. But in addition to that, we would also talk about the course expectations. We would work through the class syllabus and the class calendar, and also introduce you to the Blackboard site. This being an online class, it's especially important that you're really comfortable with the Blackboard site, because that is the mechanism that will be used to disseminate information, all of the information about the course. And so that's what we'll do in this session. We'll cover those things, and let's get started. All right, I'll begin by working through the syllabus. This document is online. It's on the Blackboard site. All of this stuff I'm about to show you, and I'll be flipping back and forth at certain points between the Blackboard site, various different websites, the class calendar, etc. And so everything you're about to see is available to you through the Blackboard site. And as you look at this document, as you start to read it, what you'll initially see is basically an explanation of what this course is. And what we try to do with this course is make sure that you are computer literate, you're computer savvy, enough to do all of your WKU work. Hopefully beyond that, but certainly anything that you're going to encounter at WKU, we want to give you an introduction to that, so that as you go into those other courses, so if you're a business major, for example, and most of you are, when you go into your management courses or your finance courses or your accounting courses or your econ courses, and you're using things like Excel, that you're comfortable and able to start using those applications right away. Additionally, we also talk about, there is an office component to this course. It's only 30% of what we do. The bulk of what we do, the other 70%, is conceptual stuff. We'll talk about, what is hardware, what is software, what is a network, what is the internet, how do we use those things to solve problems, and that's where we spend, the bulk of our time. But that's the purpose of this course. I mentioned this in that greeting that you see right there, but this is an online 4-week course. This is going to be difficult, and the amount of information that you'll get very quickly is, you're going to get a lot of information very quickly, and so please keep that in mind. I will open this course early, and you should have plenty of time. If this is not for you, please drop the course and then take it face-to-face later on. That's totally fine. Online is not for everybody. I personally think it's much more difficult to do an online course than a face-to-face, but if you are well suited for this, then I look forward to working with you. That is our setup. That's what we're going to cover, and that's the delivery mechanism for getting this information to you. Let me tell you about my contact information. If you need to reach me, the best way is to reach me by my cell phone, which you see listed right there, and also email. I will not be in the office this summer. It's the summer, and so I do everything I can to not go to WKU's campus. If you need to reach me, you have 2 ways to do that listed right there on the syllabus. So please reach out if you have questions. Do things in advance, please. Prior to deadlines. If something is due at 11:59 p.m. on a certain day, and then you have trouble with it at 11 p.m. and you contact me, you're not going to contact me. I mean, I'll probably stop answering my phone around 9 o'clock. And so, keep that in mind. If you get within that, basically, we call that the on your own zone. Once you get like that close to a deadline and you start having trouble, you need to, that's on you. So you need to basically factor that in and try and get stuff done like the first day it's available. And that way, if you have trouble, you can contact me, and even if I can't call you right back, then you still have time like the second day that it's available, so we can get stuff worked out. So please keep that in mind. That's my contact information. There are a couple, there's a book. You definitely want the book, and here is as you look at required materials, I'm going to go ahead and open up that link right there. This is the textbook. It's one that we've used for a while. This is a link to the Amazon site, and as you first get there, it has it at the purchase. It wants you to see purchase information. I would not buy this book if I were you. I would rent it. If you click on the rent dot right there, you'll see it's about $29 as of the recording of this video. So $29 for the course. That's not bad for a book. And so get the book. You're going to need it. So that's the first thing you need is the book. And again, opening this early, hopefully it's going to allow you up to enough time to get that book before class starts and be able to start using it. So there's the rental information. If you know somebody that's had the class and they have the book and you want to get it from them, great. If you want to go to WKU's bookstore and get it from them, that's fine too. Theirs is more expensive than the prices you're seeing here. It's cheaper to get it online. So whichever works out best for you, that's what you need to do. You're also going to need Microsoft Office, and you'll need that in any flavor, whether that's on a Mac, whether that's on a PC, whether that's as old as Office 2011 up through Office 365. You need Office because you're going to do homework projects, the SAM projects, and in order to complete those, you have to have those applications. Now, if you don't have a computer at all, you're going to spend a lot of time in a computer lab. I don't know if I would want to take this class if I didn't own my own computer, but you can, and you can do that in a computer lab, but you're going to spend a lot of time there. If you go to the computer labs, make sure that you have headphones, because there are, just like this video you're watching, in addition to lecture videos, there also are tutorial videos for all the homework projects, and so you're going to be need to hear that information. So make sure you have a set of headphones, and if you have a smartphone and you listen to music on it, then those would probably work. But make sure that you have headphones if you're going to be listening to lectures on computer, public computers. If you have an Apple computer, you can do the projects, but it's easier on a Windows computer. Certain projects in particular, some of the Word projects and then some of the Excel projects are a little bit easier on a Windows computer. And you may want to, and as you get into those projects, you'll see the details, and you can contact me about that for more information. But you may want to schedule a day where you go somewhere where you've got a Windows computer if you're an Apple user, just to complete those particular projects, because it will just save you time. The interface, what you see on the screen from the tutorials is going to look different than what you see on your computers. And it's possible to pass all of the projects with the Apple installation of Office, but it just takes longer because, that product that we use, the SAM product, the Skills Assessment Manager, it has to come in one flavor. Basically it's compatible with Windows, and so that's a choice we had to make. And WKU's computer labs, for the most part, have Windows, and so that's what we went with. And so keep that in mind if you're an Apple user and you want to do all those projects on your computers. There's some stuff that's going to take you longer. It's going to be more difficult. You may want to budget a day or two where you go to a computer lab, whether that's at a library or whether it's on a friend's computer that has Windows, or whether it's on, where you can get to that at work or something like that. Those are things to consider. As far as internet requirements go, make sure that you have broadband fast internet service. Obviously you're watching a video right now, so whatever you're watching this on works. You might be watching it on your phone, and then you plan to do your work on the computer. I suppose you could do that. It'd be much easier if you can just do the whole thing from your computer. And so you need that fast internet access, because all this streaming stuff is going to, it's not going to work on dial-up. Not at a speed which you would be happy with. So dial-up service is not adequate. Okay, let's move on down to class meetings. We've already talked about this, so this will be very fast. This is an online class. Everything we do is online. We never meet face to face. So all of your instruction is going to be through this type of format where you're listening to a video and you're also reading, but we will not meet in a classroom ever. Now, the only exception to that would be your final exam has to take place at a proctored set location. You don't have to come to campus. You don't have to be in the state of Kentucky. You can be. I've literally had people take the test in South America, over in various theaters where, Afghanistan and Iraq. Had people take it over in Asia. You just have to schedule that final exam through the testing center, and you'll get instructions on that. But other than the final exam, everything else is done from wherever you want to work, as long as you have internet connection. So that's really great. If you're not in Bowling Green, it's summertime, and hopefully you got to go home, and maybe you have a job and you're working to save money for the semester, or if you just didn't want to be in Bowling Green over the summer, great. That will work just fine. But for that final exam, you have to schedule that through the testing center, and you'll get specific instructions on that the first week of class. Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, we are going to complete the following 4 activities on a very regular basis. I will ask you to read. I will provide tutorial lectures. I'll ask you to complete 12 projects, 12 homework assignments, and you'll have regular exams. You'll have 3 of those. Each of your exams will be available for 48 hours, and you'll see those when I show you the class calendar in a minute. Also, you'll have to come to some location that you schedule with the testing center to complete the final exam. That final exam, you can't skip it. It's worth 350 points out of 1,000, and you'll see the point breakdown in just a moment. So if you did the whole class and you didn't take the final exam and you'd gotten 100% on everything, you still wouldn't pass. You have to go somewhere proctored. Basically, it's kind of like the final acid test, if you will, to make sure that you have actually learned the information that we want you to learn. And so it has a very high point value, and you do that in a supervised, proctored environment. So those are the things that we're going to be doing, and they're listed right there for you. So let's talk about grading next. Scroll on down here to grading. Grading is pretty apparent, pretty easy to grasp. Essentially, there's a syllabus quiz which verifies that what we're talking about right at this moment has, you understand it. And then there are 12 homework projects. You have 3 regular tests, and you have a comprehensive final exam. Comprehensive, of course, means it's over everything that we covered in the course. It's not too bad because it's it's a 4-week course, so you're looking at what did you just learn about the preceding 3.5 weeks, the preceding 4 weeks, and so everything sticks with you pretty well. That's harder, I think, during the regular semester, because at that point you're talking about what did we talk about 12 weeks ago, 13 weeks ago, 14 weeks ago, and so this is in a summer class, the comprehensive final exam is actually probably easier. Now there are 2 dates you need to keep in mind: June 5th, June 14th. If you're going to drop the class with no grade whatsoever, essentially, and also get your refund for taking the course, you need to do that by June 5th. Exactly when on June 5th, I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's like close of business or if that's like 11:59 p.m. But the date on the registration guide is June 5th, and so if you want out of the class, with a refund, my advice to you is to get that done like really early June 5th. Drop on out of the course. If you start taking the course and you then want to withdraw, you can do that all the way through June 14th. I will try to provide you with a reminder about that, but essentially a withdrawal, a W, that's it. You don't get your money back, but you also don't have to worry about a grade. So let's say by June 12th, June 13th, you're just not doing well, you're not liking it, you want to get out, you can withdraw. That's an option. So those are 2 dates that are important to keep in mind. As far as the grading scale, how does this work? You'll see there are various points that you can earn throughout the semester. This is really easy. Essentially, you need to get 900 or more points for an A, 8 to 899 for a B, and so on. that standard grading scale that you're used to. It's not percents. We're talking about points, and so you're looking for these point levels in order to get to these particular points. And so if you had 899 points, you were really close, but you got a B. If you got 699 points, you were really close, but you got a D. And so this is a point-based class and not a percentage class. Okay, I'll let you read these grading principles. If you want to, you can pause the recording and do that. Essentially what that says is once a deadline is passed, you can't do something late. And if you have a question about a grade, ask your question. Like, I'll post the grades. You get notified, I think, through email once I post grades. If you have a question about a grade, let me know, because after so much time, then I don't want to answer questions like, don't ask me about something 3 weeks after the fact. Essentially you have 7 days to ask a question. So why is that? That's basically because within that 7-day period, that memory is still going to be fresh. I can give you like really good feedback about why you got the grade that you got. Much of this course is auto-graded, and so it's you missed it or you missed it or you didn't, that sort of a thing. There's not a whole lot of subjective stuff in this particular course. I also use these same principles in classes where everything is it's a completely project-based class, as opposed to where we have like regular tests like we do in here. So let me know if you have questions about that. As far as email goes, I will send email through Blackboard, and Blackboard assumes that you use your topper.wku.edu email. If you don't go into TopNet, and the instructions are listed right here, if you don't go into TopNet and essentially change your preferred account to something else, like let's say you use Gmail as your primary email account, then the university doesn't know that. And so you have to set that up through your TopNet preferences. So I'm going to send your notifications through Blackboard and assume that you got them. I will hold your feet to the fire on that. When I send notifications, if you miss something because you didn't get the email, I'm going to push that back on you. You need to make sure that you have your email set up, your email preferences set up so that you get the emails and you need to be checking emails. As far as the Blackboard website goes, as I stated a moment ago, we will use this site extensively, and we will, that's how you'll get all of your information. If you are a veteran, there is a resource on campus. It's the Veteran Resource Center. It's a great place. If you are a veteran yourself or the dependent of a veteran, please check that place out and give them a call. Go visit. There's the website for it right there. It's over in Tate Page Hall, which is the round building on campus, but they have several resources that are pretty great, and this is stuff that you've earned through your service to the country. One of those services that they provide is they will provide textbooks in some instances. If people donate their books to that location for veterans and their family members. And so as big of a class as this one is and as many people take it, I would be surprised if they don't have some books down there. And so check that place out, give them a call. Again, that's a benefit that you've earned through your service, so please take advantage of that. Okay, this next bit of information is not so pleasant. That's talking about academic dishonesty, and essentially, please read this. Please make sure that you are 100% aware of what I'm stating here. Essentially, what I'm trying to communicate is don't cheat. If you cheat on anything, I will give you a grade of F. You will fail the course. Where are you most tempted to cheat in this class? You're most tempted to cheat on the SAM projects. Each of those SAM projects is only worth 25 points. 25 points out of 1,000. You could skip 2 entire rounds of SAM stuff and still get a B in a class. Please don't do it. If you cheat, you will get caught, and if you're caught, basically there's all sorts of notification stuff built into that software. If I get the notification and I check for it, then I will come to you and I will basically give you a grade of F for the course. And this is also retroactive. Please don't do this please don't give people your homework in the future. So we've done that before. We've stepped back to where people have taken the course before and then retroactively given a grade of F, and that stinks for everybody. So please don't cheat on anything. It's not worth it, and that penalty is very high. If you have questions, please contact me. All right, moving down the syllabus. If you use SARC's services, the Student Accessibility Resource Center, and you have some sort of an accommodation form, please get that to me. Take a picture on your phone and send that to me now, so I can, and also a phone number so I can call you so we can actually talk about it. That's something that we need to discuss, and so any accommodation requests, please send me those forms, like right away, so that we can talk about those. This next portion of the syllabus, where it talks about the Title IX sexual misconduct and assault policy, hopefully you're seeing this in all of your syllabi for all of your courses. I assume that you are. The university has definitely improved in this area, and so what you see here are links to the different policies talking about Title IX misconduct and assault steps that we take. We want to support you if you're being harassed in any way. We want to be of assistance. What I need you to know is that if you contact me, and I talk about this right down in here, a faculty member is considered a responsible employee with regard to these sorts of matters. And so if you contact me, I will help you. But I also have to. You can't tell me, and I can't keep that in confidence. If you contact me about such a matter, I have to go to the offices, basically Miss Anderson there, and let them know about it so they can start to investigate it. If you'd like to report such a thing confidentially, the way that you would do that is to go through the Counseling and Testing Center, which is, there's the phone number for it right there. And so you do have options about how to proceed if you experience such a thing, and hopefully you never do. But if you do experience such a thing, you can contact faculty like myself, or these people listed right here, or you can go to the Counseling and Testing Center. So we provide that information, hopefully so people can deal with this sort of incident better than in the past. So please let me know if you have questions about that. The next item I have on the syllabus is talking about the WKU food pantry. There is a food pantry on campus, and you may not have thought about it before, but there are people that come to school, and school is obviously very expensive, and sometimes people have to make a choice about whether they're going to pay tuition, whether they're going to buy their books, whether they're going to pay the rent, or whether they're going to eat. And so if you find yourself in that situation, please take advantage of this food pantry. You'll see the summer hours for the food pantry are, I'll fix my link here. I'll fix my link to that. Hold on one second. I apologize about that. Here is the correct link right here. I've also corrected it in the document. But during the summer hours, you can see Monday through Thursday, the pantry is open at those hours, and it's offered through the Office of Sustainability. One cool thing I think about that particular effort, I think a lot of that was organized by students. I was on the faculty senate, back when they sort of really pushed for this and they got this going. They had this whole initiative that they pushed through that was talking about how prevalent this is, and that we need to address it. And so this got organized and put together, and there you go. So please take advantage of that if you're hungry, because if you're hungry, you can't concentrate on hard drives. You can't concentrate on what TCP/IP is because you're hungry, right? And so if you are in that boat, please take advantage of that food pantry and get to where you're able to concentrate. Okay, to finish this document, this last portion talks about course objectives. If you're going to be a teacher, and I know some of you are education majors, you'll be interested in this. The rest of you probably won't care. There's something called the Assurance of Learning Initiative. This is part of our accreditation for the college. But one of the things that we try to do is we try to set up course objectives. We try to just figure out what do we want students to learn from this course, and then from there we can make sure that we're taking action that supports that objective, because that of course is why we're asking you to complete the course. And so as you see, for the college, this particular class falls under the category of technology competency, and so these are objectives we have for your technology competency, and then these are things that we'll take, steps that we'll take to make sure that you reach that. And so there are assessments that are used in addition to the activities to hopefully make sure that the objectives are achieved. And so as a teacher, you will write these yourself, and so that's why I say as a teacher you'll be more interested in that than somebody who is not. But those are our objectives for the course, and that is the syllabus. So thank you for your attention on that. What I'd next like to do is show you the class calendar, and it looks like this. Let me switch over to the calendar, and you can see that it is a PDF document. We have essentially a month or 4 weeks to cover the course. On paper we have 4 weeks. We actually don't, and let me show you why. Because you see the class starts on June 3rd officially. I'm actually going to open that at least a week early. Hopefully this class is full right now, so hopefully everybody can get in here and start doing stuff a little bit early. But we have 4 weeks by the calendar to work. And then as you come down here toward the bottom, you'll see there's the final exam dates right there. And we're supposed to close class on June 28th, but I want to have the whole thing done by June 27th, and here's why. Let me show you. Let me jump over to Blackboard. And if you look on Blackboard, wrong browser, excuse me. If you look on Blackboard when you first try to log in, it talks about Blackboard maintenance being conducted June 29th through July 1st. This is a huge upgrade that's going to happen to Blackboard. Essentially what's going to happen from Blackboard for Blackboard this summer is you're going to see WKU go from a local installation to, sorry about that, my dogs started barking. You'll hear that in some lectures too. WKU is taking all of its Blackboard stuff from campus and pushing it to what's called the cloud. And you'll learn all about the cloud in chapters 7 and 8 when we talk about computer networks. Everything is really going to not everything, but most stuff is going to a cloud sort of infrastructure, and so it's very timely that this sort of thing happens while we're in this course. So again, you're going to read details about this stuff in chapters 7 and 8, but all your Blackboard data is now going to be stored on Blackboard's computers at Blackboard, the Blackboard company itself, or through something that Blackboard rents out from Amazon or something like that. And that's a really big change. And so that change is supposed to start to take place on June 29th. And so once June 29th hits, I can't get into Blackboard, and I need to have your grades in, I believe, by July 2nd. And so what I'm doing to deal with this is we're going to have the course done on June 27th, 11:59 p.m. On June 27th, that's when the class ends for us, and then that gives me the 28th to put your grades in. So on paper, it says we go to the 28th, but we don't. We're gonna end at 11:59 p.m. on June 27th. Now, let's look at the rest of the calendar. You'll see that the calendar is broken into 3 chunks. I named these after characters from the Harry Potter series. You guys, I'm sure, are familiar with that line of books and movies, that's something that you've grown up with. And so it just makes, by putting stuff into buckets, into modules, it makes it easier to remember what what you're working on. And so you'll see this first module, it's all named after Harry. Each of these is about a week, 7 to 8 days in length. And so you'll see initially it's like the introductory stuff, and then it gets into hardware. So this is introductory stuff and hardware. Then you get into here, you learn about software, you learn about computer networks. You come down here to the third module, the one named after Ron Weasley, and this one is talking about security, databases, and then what traditionally was in our ethics chapters for the book. And so this is the breakdown of what we're going to cover by module. You'll see these different days listed over here by class date, and you'll see quizzes, exams, and projects listed when they are available. So for example, the syllabus quiz is going to be available on up until 11:59 p.m. on June 4th. At 11:59 p.m. On June 4th, that will disappear and not be available any longer. It's only worth 11 points, but it's really important that you take that, because once you do, it verifies that you've heard this information, you read the syllabus, and you know what to expect from the course. The first exam, which covers basically all this stuff in this module called Harry, is available on June 9th and 10th. You'll see again from 12:01 a.m. on June 9th to 11:59 p.m. on Monday, June 10th. That's when exam 1 is available. And I will put reminders out there for you on Blackboard, and so you'll have a reminder on the Blackboard site itself. But put these dates in your calendar, please. You may be getting busy. You may be busy with work. You may be going on vacation or something like that. Make sure these dates are well annotated in your, however you keep track of your life, because during that 48-hour period, you need to take the test. During that 48-hour period, you need to take that test, exam 2. During this 48-hour, you need to take that test, exam 3. Now you can do that from wherever you want. As long as there's an internet connection, you can take the test from wherever you want. They are timed. Each of those exams has a time limit. So the reason we do a time limit on your test is because we assume that if you're at a distance, you're probably going to have websites open and the book open and everything else. There's no way I can prevent that. So instead, I just limit the time. And so there's 30 seconds per question. So if it was a 50-question test, you'd have 25 minutes for the test. So again, 50 questions, 30 seconds per question, you're going to give 25 total minutes, right? And so that's the strategy we use, and it's effective. Please note there are also a few other dates on this calendar you need to pay attention to. First is this SAM deadline for all of the Word projects. There are 4 of them. And then the first 2 Word projects, Word 1 and 2. Those are due on June 14th by 11:59 p.m. on June 14th. After that time, those projects will no longer be available from the SAM site. And there's a SAM orientation, a separate orientation for it. Down here you'll see that the last 2 Word projects, 3 and 4, and all of the Excel projects are due by 11:59 p.m. on June 27th. And so you have the first 6 due by then, the last 6 due by then. Each project's going to take you about a half an hour to about 40 minutes to complete. Please budget that time. Again, you've got 6 of those up there and you have 6 of those down here. So budget your time accordingly so you can get those done. And then lastly, I've already mentioned the final exam. The comprehensive final exam will be available for 48 hours at a proctored location. The 2 dates that you can take the final exam are June 26th or June 27th at the location that you set up with the testing center. You'll get an email with specific instructions and exactly how to do that. You have to set that. You have to make that appointment. You have to show up for that appointment, and you have to complete the final exam, at that location. Now, at that one, it's a longer test, and you get up to 2 hours. I don't think anybody ever actually takes 2 hours to complete it, but you could have as long as 2 hours to complete it. And because it's in a supervised, structured environment, you get that longer period of time. You can't use any notes, and it's over everything that we've talked about, in the class, except the office stuff. The office stuff is not included in the final exam. So, with the exception of spreadsheet boot camp. Spreadsheet boot camp stuff, because there are business lessons that go along with that is included in the final. So that's the class. That's the how I will assess you. Let me show you the Blackboard site, and I'll let you go. Again, we're going to have a Blackboard outage starting on June 29th, so we're going to complete the course by the 27th. And so once you log into the site, you'll land here. Essentially, this is the open page, the welcome page for our site, and you'll see a bunch of pictures of Ron, Hermione, and Harry, depending on which module it is. So welcome to the course, and we'll start with like when they're little kids, and by the time the end of the class, you'll have like pictures where they're a lot older in the movies. What does the site consist of? Well, there will be announcements. Whatever is going on, I'll try to keep that information current here. My contact information is listed right there, and there's my phone number. And I'm not going to be on campus, so if you need to reach me, call me or email me, one or the other. As far as the syllabus and the class calendar, they're both available right there. So please, get those documents and be aware of what's there. When you take the syllabus quiz, for example, have that open or print that out and have that sitting right there in front of you while you take the syllabus quiz. Here's where you will spend the most of your time on the lessons page. Everything is there. The entire course is here and ready for you right now. Now, you have to wait until the test dates, until those 48-hour windows to complete tests, but all of the content is there. So, for example, if you look in Harry, here is the orientation. That's where you are now. Here's a project, SAM Projects orientation folder. If you look in there, it talks about, there's the movie for it. You clicked on that link. It would start an orientation video for you about the SAM projects. These are links that are alluded to in that lesson. So if you wanted to download Office 365, for example, there's where you'd get it from. These are instructions for doing so with a Windows machine, an Apple machine, and then a link to the SAM website itself. And so that's how you use this site. You essentially go to lessons, and obviously we're working in this one first because it's at the top. And then you complete those lessons however you want to, and as long as you're completing all of those lessons by the test date, which is going to be June 9th and 10th, right there. I don't care whether you go, in chapters 1, 2, 3, 4 or not. I assume that would be easier if you did, but that's your choice. And so that's how you navigate the lessons portion of the Blackboard site. There's also a page over SAM projects, specifically over SAM projects. You'll see more about that in the SAM orientation, but that's a link out to the SAM website itself, and then individual tutorials over each of those different projects. Step by step, Dr. Cruz works through all 12 of those projects. We assume that you don't know any of it. I think that you're going to know some of it, but you'll find that those tutorials are very helpful because he works through each of those different projects with you. So please take advantage of those. Again, that's on the SAM projects page of the site. The quizzes and exams, this is where you go to complete quizzes and exams. The syllabus quiz is right there, so when you're done with this lesson, click on that link right there. There's no password for it. It says, okay, do you want to begin? And you click on that right there, and essentially you start answering questions about what you're hearing right now. And then you hit save and submit. Let me get back to here. You can take that syllabus quiz as many times as you want. Unlike the regular test exams 1, 2, and 3 in the final exam, you can only complete those once. But the syllabus quiz, you can complete that as many times as you want. That will be available until 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday, June 4th. So if you didn't get 11 out of 11 and you want to take it again, feel free to. please feel free to work until you get maximum score on that. Here are practice tests for exams 1, 2, and 3. You can also use these practice tests to prepare for the final. So you'll see there's practice test for Harry, practice test for Hermione, practice test for Ron, and those are just going to give you different questions each time you take them over the material that those tests cover. So please take advantage of these resources available on the quizzes and exams page of the Blackboard site. Now on the register for final exam page, the instructions have not been issued from the testing center yet. I will post those as soon as they do. What you'll see here is a PDF here, which you'll click on it, and it will have the instructions from the testing center saying exactly how to register for your final exam wherever you wish to take it. They're still processing the request I made. I anticipate it. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes through today because I made that request on Monday, and it's Thursday now. So at any point I'll get that, put that PDF right there. Hold on one second. It's going to look something like this. Now this is not correct because this is from a previous semester, but you can see from it that it talks about how to go about registering for that final exam. So you'll get that pretty soon. I'll post those instructions for this particular class as soon as I get those from the testing center. And also they will email that to you. So you'll get that directly from them as the email. I'll post instructions there as the PDF, and there should be no doubt. If you have questions, let me know. Lastly, there are 2 links down here. One to the service desk, the Internet Information Technology service desk. And so if you want to get some technology help from the university's helpline, that tells you, how to reach them by phone as well as chat. That link is this ITS service desk. And then lastly, the tools page, which this allows you to do things like check your grades. And so that's the Blackboard site. We've talked about the syllabus, we've talked about the class calendar, we've talked about the Blackboard site, and these are things we would have talked about during the first meeting. So thank you for your time and attention. My request for you is that you then now go over to the exams page, click on that syllabus quiz and complete that until you get to the maximum points. Build up as many points as you can. And also contact me if you have any questions. So thank you for taking the course. If this is something you don't want to do, that's totally fine. Please, just withdraw and get out of here by June 4th, and it'll be like you never signed up in the first place. If you do stay in, please stay in touch with me and let me know what sort of questions you have, and I look forward to working with you. Thanks for your time and attention.